Howdy, Dr. Sanchez. So the first question was really asking why do only 29% of employees know the company's strategy whenever it's clearly articulated? I kind of had a personal opinion and also did some research on this. My personal opinion was that employees can just get consumed by the day to day. They show up to work and they have all these tasks that they're trying to accomplish. So they might hear a clearly articulated strategy, but it may just not really sink in and they go right back to their tasks and get busy again. But as I was researching the issue, I found this PwC study where they looked at this statistic that 93% of employees don't understand their strategy. And they highlighted the reason for this being that there's kind of an understanding gap between the CEO and the employees. You see, the CEO and top level executives are going in and preparing these strategies. And even though we talked about in class how employees should be involved in that, they might not always be. So the CEO and the top level executives are preparing this, but employees don't have as much knowledge or background information about the strategy. So whenever the CEO gets up at the corporate reveal party and is talking about this elaborate, beautiful strategy that's been created, employees can kind of see this as pointless, time consuming ideas, something that they have to implement, but that they weren't really involved in the process of creating. And I think this leads to the point that the CEO really has to sell the value of the strategy. He has to communicate to employees why it's important and why they should care about the strategy. Now, the second question was kind of asking why do many firms create a list of goals or objectives or whatever you want to call them versus an actual real strategy? And I kind of found three reasons for this. First of all, goals are easier and they just take less effort to think of. I could say, I want to increase my firm's revenue. And that's pretty easy. It's a lot easier than thinking of how am I actually going to increase revenue and what do I need to do in order to do that. Now, the second reason that I came up with is that top executives may not really understand what a strategy is. Now, before I took this class, I would not have really known the difference between goals and objectives and actual strategies. And I don't think that we can assume that just because executives have advanced degrees that they necessarily do either. And finally, the third reason, I think listing off a bunch of goals can really play with people's emotions. Whenever you're in charge of a company and you're getting up at that corporate reveal party and you're getting up there and saying, we're going to increase our revenue, we're going to beat out our competitors, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, that gets people really fired up. It's a little bit more mundane to get up there and be like, this is how we're actually going to increase revenue. Here's our playbook. That's a little bit more tedious and not quite as emotionally charged. So I think these are all reasons why sometimes it's tempting to just put out a list of goals. Finally, the third question was asking about DPG media and what questions they were asking and why in the case study. They really asked two questions. First of all, do people still want quality journalism? And secondly, how must we adapt to be successful in the digital age? I think these are two really important questions, which is why they were asking them. The first one gets at, is there even a need for our business? Can we provide value? Is our business model even viable? And once they found out that the answer to that was yes, the second question gets at, how do we adapt to be successful? What do we have to do to take that business model and make it possible in the modern age? So these are really important questions. You first need to know if your business is a possibility. And secondly, consider how can you be successful? Thank you.